For our final project, we did a lesson plan. The purpose of this lesson is to deepen students' understandings of African literature and its roles in shaping global perspective on identity, gender, and representation. By engaging with scholarly texts and short stories by African authors, students will examine how women's experiences are portrayed across different contexts and how these narratives challenge dominant Western literacy frameworks.
The lesson aligns with the following learning standards. Analyze how authors employ point of view, perspective, and purpose to shape explicit and implicit messages. Choose and develop criteria in order to evaluate the quality of texts. Make connections with others. Use precise language and content-specific vocabulary and literary techniques to express.
Prior to coming to class, half the class will be assigned to read African American Women in Higher Education Struggling to Gain Identity and Studies of Women in African Literature by Davis. The other half will read African Studies Abstracts and Where Are All the Africans in African Studies. They will type a one-page summary discussing the themes from both of those scholarly sources.
In class, they will do a think, pair, share with a person who read the opposite stories for homework, discussing the following questions. What is the importance of including African literature into our everyday knowledge of literature? How does doing so positively impact African communities globally?
Going into the body of our lesson, we will split the class in half and they will read one of the following chapters from the book The Thing Around Your Neck, Invitation, and the American Embassy. They will make a Venn diagram after reading as a whole class. They will complete a Venn diagram comparing and contrasting the two chapters, again focusing on the themes of women in African studies. Then they will move on to doing a gallery walk. There will be 4 anchor charts hung up around the room, 2 per chapter. Each anchor chart will have a question. Students will answer the questions on a sticky note and put their answers on the anchor chart. Once finished, students will do a gallery walk around the room and to look at each other's responses. The questions on the anchor chart will be the following. What is the importance of including African literature in our everyday lives, everyday knowledge of literature? How does doing so positively impact African communities globally? And how do cultural expectations shape the experiences of women in stories?
To close out our lesson, they will complete an exit ticket answering the following question. What is a theme you noticed between the stories you read for homework and the chapters we read in class today regarding women in African studies?
And throughout the class, we have modifications and accommodations to our students. For modifications, they could provide a shorter story. So instead of having the whole scholarly source, they would have half of it just with the general information in it. And instead of writing a one-page summary, they could write a paragraph or bullet points.
For accommodations, we can give them extra time to complete the tasks in class and also allow audio versions of the readings if that's needed also. And that's all.
That's it.